Hi, everybody. It's the waitingfornextyear.com podcast. I'm live from a vehicle
Undisclosed location.
with Dave Sterling. How's it going, man?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm great, especially now that the Cleveland Indians are headed to the ALCS. They're gonna series away from the World Series.
We came to reign, baby.
Wah, wah. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the Indians, but
You remember the movie with Adam Sandler and like the magic remote control?
Major League?
No. Where he would like fast forward things.
Is that Bedtime Stories?
It was
Click.
Click, yeah. So this is a weird thought, but like remember he would like fast forward too far and then he's like, oh crap. That's the problem when you fast forward an entire regular season to get to the playoffs and then you shit yourself out of the playoffs. It's like, oh, whoops. Guess I missed all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have fast forwarded through that.
So if Houston wins the whole thing, does it change how you feel about the Indians getting rolled in the divisional series?
No, it does not. If we would have lost any of the games like 7-6 or anything like that, if we would have played, this is very much a 2017 Browns scenario. In 2016, the Browns were in a lot of games, and they only won one of them, but they were in a lot of them, and they lost a lot of close ones. The 2017 Browns just got rolled, and by the second quarter, you knew it was over. And there were distinctive times in all of these games that you knew the game was over. So, Game 3, 6th inning, we go down 4-2, we knew the game was over. Like, they all of these things, like...
And then they followed it up with one of the most embarrassing half innings, maybe in baseball history, maybe in team history.
Yeah. And at this point, I know we're ditching Chief Wahoo. Maybe it's time to ditch the whole Indians name, too. And just go start fresh. Call them the Fellers. Whatever you want. Call them the Guardians. Call them whatever you want.
I think we should take a nod from the Browns Friday fumble and just call them Cleveland Baseball.
Cleveland Baseball. Well, my wife's idea was call them the Cleveland Indianans. And then they could have a character called Chief Baseball. But
Chief Baseball.
But I don't know if that would work out. But yeah, Cleveland Baseball. And just call it that.
Well, it's true.
The logo can be a baseball.
By the time we're in the stands high-fiving each other, I don't identify it with a mascot anyway.
Right.
You know, it's just
right.
We're Cleveland baseball fans.
Yeah. So that's our note to the Dolans, who may or may not be cheap. Cleveland Baseball, new name.
I think you and I think we could make Waiting for Next Year Cleveland baseball shirts and not even violate any.
Yeah, and sell them for $5 at grocery stores.
It's like those generic kids shirts that are like have a baseball and a bat and said All-Star.
Yeah, Slugger.
Yeah.
And the Block C is already just a Cleveland baseball. So yeah, I'm with you. Let's make some Cleveland baseball shirts. Any graphic designers out there who are listening, this is our new...
Graphic designer? I'm just going to pick a font, make one word blue and the other word red.
Fine.
Cleveland baseball.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Coming soon to the Waiting for Next Year store.
Step 2, profit.
Yeah.
All right, we're Browns guys. Let's just talk about the Browns.
Yes. And I've been wanting to talk about the Browns in a serious fashion for a while.
As opposed to the Browns Friday fumble.
Correct. And that, we did an Indians episode mostly because we were very, very pissed off at the refereeing situation after the Oakland game, and that we didn't feel like the NFL was worthy of any discussion at that point. Happier now, but I hate to take it all the way back to this, but I was at the Thursday night Jets game, and just a number of factors kind of came together at once there to make a pretty amazing experience. The fact that it was a Thursday night game against the Jets, who are not all that good. Like, I went to a game against the Giants a couple years ago that was a home game, and we're like, oh, the Giants fans aren't going to travel. Yeah, they did, and it was half and half. This was the first time I've seen that stadium, I'm going to say 98% Browns fans in a long, long time. They were loud Browns fans, they were excited Browns fans, and they got to see an amazing entrance by Baker Mayfield, an amazing win, And it was just an atmosphere that I had not experienced in that stadium for a long, long time.
It's the NFL. They sell out games still. They sell a lot of tickets, but the home field advantage for the Browns has not been legit in the last 5 years or so.
Especially with the secondary ticket markets. I have not had a home game experience where you didn't see major patches of opposing fans until that game, when you look around and it's all orange and it's all brown. And I saw maybe 10 isolated Jets fans.
One, and this brings us back to the Indians against the Cubs in the World Series. A lot of people want to blame fans for that. Well, if you cared, you wouldn't sell your tickets.
Right.
I never blame the fans for that. I only blame the team.
No, it's not the fans' fault. I mean,
you want to maintain your home field advantage, you got to win games. You got to be the competitive team. And I think now that we've got a quarterback that we think we can believe in, we've got a team that we think is capable of winning. Like you and I were talking earlier before we started recording, the Browns should be underdogs against the Chargers, generically speaking. But it's not going to shock anybody to death if they beat the Chargers.
Yeah, they were underdogs against the Ravens at home.
Yeah.
And they fought a gritty performance and they won the game. And it's something that I already said this to Craig too, which the listeners don't care about. It's like last year, your over under was number of quarters you were going to be able to sit through.
Yeah.
It wasn't, do we have a chance to win this at the end? It's going to be, all right, when do I shut this off and go do some yard work? Or when do I shut this off and, God forbid, talk to my family? And now it's, yeah, I'm ready for Sunday. I'm ready to see what we can do against a pretty good team, because I think they can challenge any team right now.
And it's the little things, too. Watching NFL Network and seeing the Browns not in the bottom 10 of the power rankings.
Right.
Power rankings don't mean anything.
Not a damn thing.
No, but it's like, this is supposed to be fun.
Well, and I said that to somebody after the win. I think it was in our behind-the-scenes Slack, that winning the NFL week after a win is so much fun.
Yeah.
Because you want to read the recap. You want to watch the highlight package. You want to check the dumb power rankings. You want to see if Peter King talks about the Browns in his column.
You want to check out Jake Burns breaking down 7 plays.
Exactly.
From a victory.
Jake Burns, expert.
Now on Cleveland.com.
I'm going to just say Jake Burns of ESPN, because that's where he's ending up. That's where he's going.
No. He's already been to ESPN, left there. He got caught up in some layoffs, and now he's at The Athletic.
He's with the Sportslantic with Pal Allen.
We ran his whole career for him.
Sorry, Jake. Yeah, you had a
good run at ESPN, though.
Yeah,
you
good
and
job.
Kuiper. It was nice.
You got in that one draft day dispute. They're always going to pick Kuiper, bro.
I'm sorry it didn't work out, but that private equity money at The Athletic is going to take care of you.
It's going to take care of you for 2 to 3 years. Subscribe now, 50% off.
Yeah.
Sorry, now we're just ragging on The Athletic.
Yeah, where's my hat? I want my free hat.
So,
Jake.
Yeah, Jake.
Sorry. We crack ourselves up. That's bad.
A little preview. Friday Fumble guest tonight for Friday, Jake Burns of the ESPN Report.
Athletic. The Sportslantic.
The Sportslantic. All right, this is going nowhere.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, during the NFL week after a win, you want to read all that stuff. There's so much media to consume. There's so much writing to consume. Yeah. Will Gibson throws out a column, and then you go and you read it, and you, cry that you don't get to spend all your time with Will Gibson. And you're like, man, this is just awesome. And the fact that for 2 years, the Browns were a nothing in my life. They were something that my wife would walk in, see me watching it, and roll her eyes and say, why do you do this to yourself? And then now...
And she was right.
She was right, 100%. And so now, though, it's like, this is what we were been kind of waiting for. And it's kind of nice.
Yeah, and I think it'll eventually wear off, too. Obviously, this team is going to have to compete for a playoff spot next year.
Correct.
But I'm really trying to enjoy this part of the journey.
No, for sure.
Because we certainly didn't enjoy the last part of the journey.
So, yeah, you might as well cash it in now.
Yeah. And
I
only get one chance to have the rookie year of Baker Mayfield and
Right.
Denzel Ward and
Man,
the
to
first.
get the offensive and defensive rookies of the year,
It's good. It'd be amazing.
and it's not ridiculously unlikely.
No.
If you look at your rookie of the week votings.
and then the first healthy year for Myles Garrett so far. Knock on wood.
I don't know if you've seen this. On the Browns subreddit,
I've not.
someone has made a jersey similar to our quarterback's jersey, but it is a Myles Garrett jersey where someone has put the tape of every quarterback he has sacked.
Oh, that's
On it.
awesome.
And so that is pretty amazing, and they add to it every week, and it's got some good names on it.
I can't wait till Bruce Gradkowski makes that list. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, Bruce.
So what's the wild? So let's go through the list. What are the names?
Oh, you're calling me out? Well,
No,
from last
like-
week, it's Flacco.
It's Flacco, probably Carr,
Roethlisberger times 2.
Roethlisberger, Carr. Who else? Did he get any last? I know we got
Yes,
some last year.
yes.
So like
Deshaun Watson's on it.
Andy Dalton. Did he get Andy Dalton last year?
I
Was
think
he
he
healthy
did.
for either one of the Bengals games?
I think he did get Andy Dalton.
I'm interested in this because he did miss so much, and he was playing injured so much of last season.
Yeah, it is nice to see him at full strength and being able to compete, and then also kind of take pressure off of the interior of the line, which is also excelling.
Why you look for that? We know for a fact. I guarantee it. He's going to add Phil Rivers to the list this week.
Oh yes, for sure.
So the Browns are home underdogs. I think it's probably 3 points or less, though. So it's basically a pick 'em or close to a pick 'em.
That's a one less than one duck field goal.
Yeah. But this team seems to be getting healthier and get some tight ends back last week.
Yeah, DeValve I think will be good for Baker.
Did they discover or rediscover Duke Johnson at the end of the game last week?
Man, he was excellent at the end of the game last week. I thought about it a little bit this week with Higgins dinged up.
Has he earned some handoffs, or are you just going to put him in the slot?
I say at this point you put him in the slot.
Do you think they're going to do that, though? Because they've kind of hinted around it for a long time, and then they never seem to actually do it.
Yeah, I think at this point, though, I would take Duke Johnson in the slot over, Rod Streeter.
And
Willies.
Derek Willies.
Yeah. So, all right, I found it. We got McCown times 2.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson. Marcus Mariota. Andy Dalton. Mitchell Trubisky. Jones. Who's a Jones quarterback?
Oh, that would be the Pittsburgh
Oh,
Jones?
yeah, Landry Jones. Pittsburgh Jones.
Pittsburgh Jones.
Mr. Ben Roethlisberger times 2. Sam Darnold times 2.
By the way, I don't support the times 2.
Fine.
The names on the
Well,
list.
they just put times 2. They didn't write it twice. They just put
No, I
times 2.
know, but I would never.
Fine.
We're not counting the total number of sacks. We're just counting the quarterbacks.
So we've got Carr and then Flacco, and there's an asterisk on Flacco because he was only credited with a half a sack. But we decided to add him anyway. And I meant whoever made it, decided.
Yes.
But it's a big list.
That's a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, to have a player like that is finally one of your guys. And I've said this in the past about LeBron James and stuff like that. You never know. Is someone a Michael Stanley, Cleveland-only celebrity?
Right.
Same thing with Baker Mayfield. Or is it, no offense to him, Christian Kirksey, who's very popular in Cleveland, probably doesn't get a lot of talk. Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward are getting national talk.
Denzel Ward might be the next Revis. Like, he
Right.
might have his own island before we're all said and done.
Well, we kind of call it the something ward.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so the isolation ward. Done.
But it's really cool.
Copyright it, mail it to ourselves. Copyright the isolation ward.
So this was something that Ben Axelrod brought up on the 3 Sports podcast, or
Available now.
or maybe he brought it up off air. I don't remember. But how awkward is it going to be when John Dorsey wins Executive of the Year?
Well, he's also going to get up there Kevin Durant style and say, Sashi Brown, you the real MVP.
Are the Sashi Wars officially dead?
I sure hope so.
Have you've
Guys,
quit?
I haven't. I wasn't on any side. I didn't care at all. But it's who cares?
What did the Browns Friday fumble have to say? You didn't weigh in on the Sashi Wars.
On the Sashi Wars. No, we've mostly focused on Moose the dog is the head of football operations in Cleveland. We have really left Dorsey out of it.
I think it'll be fun to finally look at Hugh Jackson, not in the lens of, well, who is a bigger problem?
Right.
And just look at him as, all right, well, this is the year he put together with 2 coordinators and has nothing to do with the general manager.
No, I agree. And it was nice to see if the other thing that's great to watch after a Browns win is the inside the locker room victory speech. He gave a game ball to John Dorsey.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I missed that. I saw the game ball for the kicker.
He gave one to the kicker, one to Baker, and then one to John Dorsey.
Pretty laughable.
Yeah,
well, got a game ball.
Well, the kicker won the game, sort of, and he gave credit to the whole PAT extra point team. So,
and then David Njoku body slammed Hugh Jackson into the wall.
Boy, Jabril Peppers is fired up at all times.
Yes.
He was jumping around, yelling things. He was just fired up.
I thought Jabril Peppers made a good point prior to the Ravens game about Browns fans being pretty wishy-washy or whatever. Because I look at Peppers. He was drafted not at the top of the first round. Mm-hmm. He's at the quarter-way point of his second season in the NFL. Like, what happened to the patience? Joe Hayden didn't start at the beginning of his NFL career.
Right.
Like, sometimes players take a little bit of time.
Especially a player like him who was so undefined as what he was going to become.
Yes. And I'm nervous about David Njoku.
Yeah.
I question what Jabril Peppers' ceiling is for the Browns, but I haven't given up on them. I don't think it's time to say they're total and complete and utter busts.
No.
They've got some work ahead of them.
Well, and we can establish who's been the busts because Corey Coleman went, got picked up somewhere, then got cut.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's
Justin Gilbert out of the league.
Yeah, those are the busts, the ones that are out of the league.
Yeah.
I think if you cut Jabril Peppers tomorrow, he'd sign somewhere and be good somewhere. If you cut David Njoku he'd be signed somewhere. Would he be good? I don't know yet, but those are the things that start to happen. You have to cut good players.
And even Barkevious Mingo and Danny Shelton, who underperformed their draft slot probably.
Right.
They're still playing in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in complete utter busts. And that's really, you look at Rashard Higgins. I know he's hurt as of the Ravens game, but he's made a huge jump in that third season, that magical third season.
Especially for a wide receiver, they say that's key.
And so, and that's basically what Njoku is a wide receiver. And what are we doing? We're going to toss him out right now?
Well, the other thing that is promising for Browns fans is I heard that Ricardo Lewis in training camp had made similar strides.
Yes.
And was one of the most consistent players in training camp until he got hurt. So him coming back is a real addition next year when he can come back.
And he'll have to compete with whatever rookies and whatever draft picks they've used on receivers. But that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. He shouldn't be guaranteed a spot.
Well, I had one other theory to discuss, and special teams has been a problem. And if you think about special teams...
Yeah, the fact that we know Amos Jones' name is a real problem.
Yeah, real problem. One theory I had about that, I've heard bad things about Amos Jones as a coordinator, but second to that, special teams is the place where last year and 2 years ago talent deficit comes back to bite you.
Really? Because
special teams players are the guys who aren't starters, who are the backups, who are the third tier guys. And so if you added your layer of talent at the top, which you did, that pushes some guys down, but you haven't filled your roster with talent yet. You have 1.5 lines of talent on this team. So a couple of big injuries and you could go back to being pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so another draft or two is what it's going to take to push. I don't even know who to pick. Okay, you take a third string linebacker.
It's probably 4 or 5 players.
Right. So you pick a guy who's a second line linebacker. You get a new flashy linebacker. You push someone down the depth chart, and that third guy gets cut, then your special teamer used to be a first-string linebacker. And so the lower levels of your roster who compete mostly on special teams are not the most talented guys in the world because they came from one of the least talented teams in the NFL. And you can't bring in 53 new guys
No.
that are going to elevate your roster the whole time. So I think special teams is a problem, but I also think it will get fixed as the overall talent of the roster improves.
But didn't Joe Thomas block in the field goal unit?
So yeah.
So like, what are we doing? Even though Greg, whatever his name is, hit the game-winning field goal, Greg Joseph, the Ravens were almost unencumbered on that left side of the Browns special teams line, and almost blocked it.
Well, they got a hand to it.
Well, Hugh Jackson says they didn't. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
The Ravens say they did.
Yeah, it's fine. If they didn't, they could have or should have.
Right.
Like that's beyond whether the guy is a good kicker or not. You can't be a good kicker if they're blocking the kick.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with Zane Gonzalez after the Pittsburgh game because he got his kick blocked.
Yes.
I did have a problem with Zane Gonzalez after the Saints game when he missed.
Yeah.
But it's not the kicker's fault that a kick gets blocked. It's a kicker's fault when it goes wide or left or short.
And when I think of talent deficit in special teams, I think of gunners like Josh Cribbs making tackles.
Mm-hmm.
I think any NFL team that is worthy of being called an NFL team should be able to protect on field goals.
I would think so.
Like that's not a talent deficit type of a thing because it's easier.
Well, but on the other side of that coin, you have Baltimore, who is lauded for their special teams.
Yeah.
Denzel Ward got around the corner and blocked a kick.
Yeah. That
proved to be a game winner. It's points that we needed them to not score. So it's guys and it's scheme, but yeah, I think it is nice that we are to the point of scrutinizing special teams and being able to point to one specific thing that is causing us a lot of trouble rather than, I don't even know where to start.
So do you think the Browns defense can stifle Phil Rivers and the Chargers? That's the question.
After watching the Saints game Monday, and I don't know what the hell was going on against Oakland. I don't know if it was bad scheme or bad what. But after watching Drew Brees and the Saints play Monday and looking at the numbers that they put up and the points that they put up and then the numbers that we held them to, and the fact that we sacked him a couple of times with an interior lineman, and I have Drew Brees is not a huge mover, but Phillip Rivers is even less. I mean, that guy's got cinder blocks on his feet. He's going to be sacked this week. Antonio Gates is going to have a touchdown because that's going to happen.
Right.
But I'm interested. I'm interested to see what happens.
I do think the travel thing is real. I think it's harder for the Chargers to come to Cleveland and play at 1:00 than it is for the Browns to go to Oakland and play at 4:00. But I think it is hard to go to Oakland and play at 4:00.
Oh yeah, that's just way different.
So
the good thing coming.
I'm chalking some of that up to just traveling and playing in Oakland. The Browns defense failing so miserably
on a dirt field.
On a dirt field where the offense also gave Oakland the ball in really good field position at least twice.
Oh yeah, that's times, so. Well, and that I guess is really what happened.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns were kind of aided by the Browns offense.
Right.
So what's coming? You got notes. He brought out notes on his phone.
No, I brought out the weather forecast. Oh. We're going to be back up to 60 according to this by then, but hopefully a dose of a little bit cooler weather. Now they are in Los Angeles now. Mm-hmm. I guess. Yeah. And so that's not the biggest deal, but going back to the Indians for a minute, at least the weather could have cooperated with us and not made it Houston-like the day of our one playoff game.
Yeah, I went to the playoff game and it was disgusting out.
It's just gross.
I was sitting in my own sweat for like 4 hours.
Just ready to wear some long sleeve stuff. It'd be really nice.
I love hoodie weather.
Mm-hmm.
I love long sleeve hoodie weather, and I think we're going to have to wait till December to get it this year. And that's your weather portion of the WaitingForNextYear.com podcast. Is there anything else to talk about?
Shout out to Holly Strano.
Yeah. Always shout out to Holly Strano.
Always. She follows me on Twitter for some reason. I don't know why.
Must be all the direct messages you've been sending her.
No, never.
It was a joke, everybody.
Yeah, come on, guys. Looking forward to Sunday. Looking forward to more Baker, more of the offense, more stuff clicking.
Make us forget about the Indians.
Yeah.
It's been a. I know some people have already talked themselves into it, but I'm having trouble. I'm not having trouble dealing with this one. Just how badly they choked. So
yeah, I don't want to think about.
Who'd have thunk in Cleveland we'd have a quarterback to make us feel better?
Who'd have thunk?
It's all new. All right, thanks so much for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. It's been the waitingfornextyear.com podcast.